I made some minor calculations, and it would appear that my previous calculations were partially incorrect. Not only is this 0.5 crafting speed from the assembly machine level 1s applied to everything, and so everything's requirements are halved, and thus production times are halved on everything that is produced in assemblers, which also means that this stack here even is double the size it should be. Additionally, well, actually, that's part of the problem also. I've been reading the time variables wrong, and the crafting time just below the regular ingredients, not the total raw, is the one at the end processor, and the total raw crafting time is doing everything manually in series instead of in parallel, and so actually everything should be based off of the 0.5 seconds, which when multiplied by the inverse of the assembling machine level 1's crafting speed, which would then be the crafting power variable, would make this 1 per second on many of these basic components. In fact, all of these are, except for this one is 2 per second, and these two are 1 per second. These are in fact 1 per 5 seconds. Fascinating. And so, not only are these all unbalanced in one aspect, but two, at least, not accounting for other things I might also not be aware of. So recalculating this with the steel furnaces, this would be 1 per second, consumption of 4 iron plates per second. Since these steel furnaces can produce 3 in parallel, 2 iron plates per second, that would mean that since this crafting time would then be doubled due to the halved crafting power of the assembler, this would consume 2 iron plates per second for an average level 1 assembler. With a level 2 assembler, it's different. I'm not going to add that complicating variable yet, but since this is the case, with 3 steel furnaces we can replace all of this for this level 1 assembler if we were to be content in its production speed, and if we need twice the production speed we can add 1 more assembler and 3 more steel furnaces to make it yet again stoichiometrically correct. I'm not entirely sure I'm using the term stoichiometry correctly, but I'm pretty sure. I'm also entirely sure it doesn't apply directly, but I'm also not sure that I entirely care. Look at all of this wood, useless organic trash. Where's my trash can? I forgot. It should be... Actually, I'm not sure. Far to the north, perhaps? Or did I even make one? While I'm here, I might as well. That's incorrect. It must conform to the pattern. I don't remember making these because it was so long ago. But it's very convenient that I have them now to make these minor modifications. Wait, can't we... Oh, we're very close to making steel electric poles, which are much better than these cheap trash. In fact, I'm carrying burner mining drills. That's practically proof that I haven't made a trash can yet, because I usually throw those out immediately. I'm just going to put them here next to the manual resource pickup. And that should make much more room. Eventually that's going to the warehouse, where the logistic bots can forget about it, because it's never used. Very close to being able to upgrade these to the better version. In fact, I think we can do that now, if we were in the mood for changing all of this. There, doesn't that look better? Of course, this simplifies all of the branches we made so far, but it will not simplify the branches to come. Well, technically it will, but not retroactively. And look at this. This backlog is an obvious sign that either this is receiving more than it needs from these, or this has been filled recently and is only now being or emptied recently, is just now being refilled. That also means all of these can be modified, including, but not limited to, belt assembly. Requires 1 iron plate and 1 iron gear every second, 3 iron per second, which processing. It would appear that this set of furnaces may actually be slightly underpowered for making the belts needed. Or am I forgetting something about this production? It should be close to exactly 1 iron per second for every 3 furnaces of the stone variety, and 2 iron per second of the consumption of 6 ore per, or 3 ore per second, or 2 ore per second. So actually this would be an adequate replacement for what we already have. And we can increase that later when necessary. Of course, this can be replaced immediately. As well as this entire system. And this overcomplicated arm situation can be further resolved as well. I'm pretty sure just it would appear that they're beginning to overwhelm these now, and that would mean these are becoming more aggressive. 3 more turrets should be fine for an upgrade, but these first, since we're already here, and that should resolve many of that one's problems as well. Although I also realized in a separate world that you almost never need maximum throughput for these. Look at that production rate. When will you ever need a production rate like that for blue arms, fast inserters? Perhaps when you are automating construction with construction bots, but certainly, or hypothetically, not now. Seamless splice. And that's another detail you'll need to be pulling from this deposit soon. Wait. In these numbers, they appear to be nearing to being a problem. Or at least they will until we start doing things like this. I'm not sure if this is compounding percentages or based on the original value. One of them is much more overpowered and unreasonable than the other. Also, I would assume it would be a good idea to never not be researching. This is obsolete. This may cause a power consumption spike. The power plant requires upgrades soon. Yes, as I expected. Which also means now would be a good time to think about these, since with the upgraded power poles, I can upgrade this entire system very easily. I can have, instead of power poles in the middle here, which require spacing of one tile gap per every two engines, I can then place steel poles on either side and have this be a solid brick of engines. And temporarily I can just add more. Again. And it's only one. Of course it is. I was trying to remind me that I forgot about something. And that probably came from here. Past here, through this way instead of through here. So this should actually be closer to the opening. Or I can just place more turrets here as another alternative solution.